Hi class, this is Mrs. Bissot here. Now that you're done listening to the story, Waiting Out the Storm, please take out your Wonders Close Reading Companion and please turn to page 69. And it looks like this. And it has a picture of our book, so you know it's the right one. And it has a title of our book, Waiting Out the Storm. So the first thing you do is please write your name on the top green part. I will write mine while you're writing yours. Mrs. Bissot. Okay. Now, let's take a look at what our tip of the week is this week. And our tip this week comes from Paula. Here's Paula, and Paula says, when I reread, I make pictures in my mind. So when you're rereading, when you're listening to a story, you can imagine the story in your mind. And that helps you understand the story even more, just imagining it, kind of like it's a movie in your brain. All right, so now go to the little question mark and it says, listen. What do you picture in your mind when you hear the words about the rain? We're going to draw it and complete the sentence. The sentence says, the words tell about. Okay, so let's take a look at some words that tell us about the rain, and then we're going to imagine it and draw a picture of it. So let's think about it. There were some sounds that the little girl heard, little Buttercup heard in the story that frightened her at the beginning of the story when she was listening to the storm. She says, Mama? And then the mom says, yes, Buttercup. And the little girl says, what's that I hear? And she looked a little scared, and you could see the storms coming, see the big dark clouds. What is it that she heard? And then the mom says, it's only the wind in the treetops, my dear. Why does it whistle? A storm's on its way. The wind calls the raindrops to come out and play. So one of the sounds that we hear when a storm is coming is we hear the wind. And the wind, you could hear it on the treetops. I mean, you could hear the leaves when the wind is blowing through the leaves. And sometimes if it is very windy, you hear like a whistling sound. Have you heard that before? Like, it sounds a little creepy, but it's just the wind. So that's one thing. When we draw, we could draw a picture of the trees, and we'll draw some like wind to show that that's what we could imagine when we think of the storm coming in. It will get a little bit windy, and you could hear it in the trees. And then the other thing that she heard was she says, Mama? Yes, Buttercup, what's that I hear? That's just the rumble and thunder, my dear. It's too loud, I'm afraid. So what she was hearing was she was about to see lightning, and she heard right here, right before the lightning was going to come, you hear the thunder. The sound that you hear, that's the thunder. Now the part that you see is the lightning. So think you see the lightning, and then you hear the thunder. So another thing that she heard was the thunder. And then also the raindrops when they were landing. You could hear the raindrops touching everything, touching the floor, the houses, the trees, the cars. So, wow, there's a lot to draw, a lot of sounds that came on a rainy day, on a stormy day. So let's go ahead and let's start drawing. So first, let's draw a floor line. Okay, draw a floor line. And let's start by drawing the trees, and it's a little bit windy here. So to show that it's kind of windy, we're gonna make everything kind of blow this way. So when we draw the tree, we're gonna kind of draw it like it's a little bit slanted going this way. So we'll draw that. So instead of straight up, we'll draw it like kind of going like this on its side. And then another one going up like this. And you could draw the rest of the leaf the little leaves around it. Okay. So there's our tree. We could tell the wind is blowing it. So to show the wind, we're gonna imagine it. You're imagining it in your head. Let's just draw some little swirlies, kind of. They're all going the same direction. This is going to show the wind that is happening. That was a sound that you could hear when the storm was coming. And then there's something else that she said she could hear coming. Two things that came out of the cloud. So let's draw some clouds. Let's draw one big cloud. So draw a cloud. And there was something that you can see and hear. So you can hear the thunder and you can see the lightning. So let's draw some lightning bolts. So we'll just do some zigzags. Some little zigzags here. You color them, you could color them yellow. Okay. So the sounds we hear so far, we could hear the wind. Remember whistling? We could hear the thunder making that sound. You could see the lightning. And then something else she said you could hear when the rain's falling, you could hear the raindrops. So let's draw some raindrops, kind of like this, all over. The raindrops touching everything. So when we imagine a storm in our head, we can imagine those winds that we can hear. We can imagine the thunder we can hear. We can imagine that lightning, those clouds that we can see. We can imagine the sound of the raindrops touching everything. Now, friends, let's complete this sentence. Let's start by making some reading dots and read what they already started for us. And it says, the words tell about. What do these words tell about? What does this picture tell us about? About what? About a storm. When there's a storm, these are all the things that you might see and hear during a storm. So it says the words tell about a storm. So the words we read about in our story and that we drew about tell us about a storm. So we're gonna write two words, and they already started our sentence with a capital letter, and you see they have space in between the words. So we're just going to complete the sentence. So no more capital letters. So the words tell about a storm. So the first word is A. How do we write A? Just an A. So go ahead and make a lowercase a. And let's make our reading dot. So the words tell about a storm. So put your spacer, whatever it is that you use to put a space so that you do not squish it next to this word. So on the other side here, we're going to write the word storm. Okay, we're gonna try to sound this out. St, st, s. So the first sound we hear is an S. Remember, we're not squishing it next to the A. St, t, and a T. An S and the T make the sound st. Orm. So or is a bossy R and it's an O and an R, makes the sound or. So let's make an O and an R. A storm. M. And an M. Very good. Aren't you so glad you know all your letters and sounds now? It's so much easier to spell now that you know your letters and sounds. All right, reading dot. And a period, because we are done with this sentence. Now let's reread it and make sure it makes sense. The words tell about a storm. And these are the things you might see during a storm too. Well, friends, thank you so much for working with me. I can't wait to see your beautiful writing, and your teacher can't wait to see your beautiful writing. And I will work again with you later. Bye.